Good evening. Welcome to the Bit Knitters podcast. It is Wednesday, September 26, 2018. My name is Jacqueline. Arthur's here.
Hey.
And Ryan's here.
Bitch.
Back from getting, what did they call that? A revagination?
Yeah, well, I went to see the dentist, if you know what I mean.
Okay. He got the teeth removed from his vagina.
Yes, I have everything done. I am now a young girl woman.
Girl woman. Okay, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but I want to do a couple little updates of stories we've previously talked about. So we have the big story, I think. Bill Cosby had his sentencing yesterday. 3 to 10 years in the pokey.
What's the over-under on him dying in prison?
I haven't seen, but of course
I
you've got all these people saying that, he's too old to go to jail. And, I will say this. I saw his original mugshot from yesterday morning after the sentencing, and I thought, oh, he's so old and he looks so sad. And I thought, fuck him.
Right.
There's multiple rapists, and there's people that have been murdered in prison because they were innocent.
Yeah.
This guy's guilty, so I don't feel bad.
Right.
I was mad that he got me for even a second.
You know what it is? I had this conversation with a friend, and I hope my friend doesn't mind kind of me airing out a little bit of the conversation we have. And so I apologize, friend. My friend does not believe this, however, believes the whole, what's his name? The producer. Weinstein,
yeah.
Oh, yeah, the Weinstein stuff.
And I said, is it because he's African-American and you're African-American? He's like, well, I just grew up watching him. I'm like, we grew up watching a lot of things. Just doesn't mean that they're innocent.
And that's why, people feel sad or betrayed, because you do feel, especially for somebody like Cosby, he was, a lot of people didn't have a dad, right? Yeah. Or they had a shitty dad, and he was, the dad everybody wanted.
I don't want him to be my father. I don't think he was a good representation. Now. No, in general. I think a lot of people would have been like, that's a cool family. I would love to have a dad or a mom like that, right? Not me. What somebody else's version of normal is whatever. Yeah. My whole point with Bill Cosby and my whole problem with this is the fact that people are screaming, oh, he's so old, but couldn't we have... No, we don't.
But people aren't mad when they put these Nazis that they catch, 85 years later in jail. Right?
They were celebrating a little while ago the last death camp soldier was deported from the U.S., right? And that was fucking hugely celebrated, but no, exactly, because you've seen this guy on TV as a friendly, welcoming face. We want to overlook the fact that he's a fucking rapist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's no other way to fucking cut that cloth. He's a rapist. Sorry, he's a rapist.
Predator, like they said, a dangerous predator. He, it wasn't like he, and I'm not going to say there's different levels of rape. Rape is rape. But, you know what I mean? It wasn't like
he didn't fall down and end up in some unsuspecting woman's vagina. He drugged and then fucking...
planned it. He had the drugs, he lured the girls, and he plied them with the drink, then got on top of them and stuck it in.
That's why I even think the 3 to 10 is wrong, because that's premeditation. Like, if you commit a premeditated murder, it's see you later. Like, do not pass go, do not collect $200.
Sex crimes very rarely get,
reported.
Justified. Well, even justified results. I mean, a lot of them don't even get found guilty.
Yeah, it's good that this one actually went through, and the guilty party is going to go to jail. But I mean, fuck that whole he's old and I knew him as a kid. He's still a rapist. If I found out that Mr. Rogers was fucking hiding bodies of dead kids in his fucking basement, you know what I mean? I'd want him in jail. Like, fuck, I don't care.
He's dead though, but
No, but you'd still be mad at the memory of Mr. Rogers.
I just picked that because he's the only other friendly fucking TV face I could think of.
Used to dress up.
But this is the thing, and I don't remember where I saw this being said, and it was said, and I could not believe how much I agreed with it. We have to realize that good people do bad things.
Yeah.
The people who we think are good can be rapists, can be sodomists.
You might raise a lot of money for charity, or you might help out at homeless shelters, but that doesn't mean you're not a predator in another way.
Just look at potentially, if there is any truth to the allegations that are being thrown around for this nominee.
We're going to have an update on that in a second.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm just bringing that up in a way, but put that into perspective. This is supposedly a good man, right? But does that, my issue with the whole rape culture thing, if that wording of me using that word or that term is correct, is that there is a part of it that makes us disavow the women.
Yeah.
You know,
or the victims in general, because we have a lot of cases where
men and women
are molested,
right,
or men are raped, and we don't believe the victims in a lot of cases.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's talk. I'm not going to get into details. I just want to say, the accuser, Dr. Ford, I can't remember her first name. This is Brett Kavanaugh's accuser from 32 years ago. Another woman has come forward and accused him, and a third woman has come forward and said not that he assaulted her, but that she'd seen him and his friend spike alcohol with drugs to try to get women to pass out so they could rape them. They are going tomorrow to be questioned by some sort of Senate or prosecutors, and I guess we'll see what happens with that tomorrow. I'm sure we'll see Supreme Court Brett Kavanaugh. I don't think that that's going to change anything, to be honest. That's the pessimist in me.
I kind of agreed with you before, but I'm starting to think, okay, if he does get confirmed, Republicans, you've lost. You have just solidified
bad.
People like Ted Cruz should be afraid.
Without a real investigation. If they said, okay, you know what, let's delay this by a month and we'll do a real investigation, not just questioning. You know, like I don't think people should be found guilty without, a trial of some sort.
I agree.
And I don't think his career should be completely ruined. But I think that if this is the case and there's 2 accusations now, there should be an investigation. He should be open to that if he wants to save his reputation. Right?
I agree with you 100%. But let's be frank, though, he is going. This is going to be a very tainted.
He's going to get confirmed.
This is going to be a very tainted. What do you call that? A very tainted Supreme Court justice. Yeah. If we thought that, what's his name? The other one from the 1981, Thomas Clarence. We thought Thomas Clarence was a big deal.
Hill, Thomas Clarence,
This is a BFD. Like, if that was a DD, this is a BFD. Just to kind of really quickly go through this, Republicans, if you really want the Democrats to take over both houses, Senate is still kind of a toss-up in the air. But if you really want to solidify this, please confirm him. Thank you. Confirm him.
We'll see. I'm sure Democrats are hoping that will, But I mean, I have read. I don't know if it's going to come through, because you always hear about the swing votes, right? These Republican swing votes. Jeff Flake apparently is pretty upset. He's leaving, so he has nothing to lose if he votes against Kavanaugh. So we'll see. I don't know. Let's go into the meat of our stories. Oh, also, too, I just want to say on Monday, we were talking about that Rod Rosenstein. I thought he was meeting with Trump on Monday. He didn't. He's meeting with him tomorrow also. So
a heavy news day tomorrow.
Yeah, heavy news day tomorrow for sure. And of course, we don't like to talk about 45 too much, but just the laughter he received during his speech at the UN was just so sweet to somebody like me.
And that's all I'll say. Laughter downplays it, guffawing.
I cringed for America. I didn't feel bad for him at all, because he's so ridiculous.
Well, he played it off real well. You know what I mean?
He did. He was smooth. I give him that. Yeah. But I did cringe for America because I felt bad for you guys.
I mean, that's the fucking line. Like, that's what makes you feel bad for them.
I felt bad that. Like everybody is, the world hates America. The world laughs at America. You hear that all the time. But to literally see the world laughing at America, I felt bad. I felt bad for you guys. So, I'm not a total prick. I do like my American friends. So,
American people are cool. You know what I mean? For the most part. But unfortunately, I mean, I think it's fucking great.
Well, but if this was a Canadian prime minister, the same thing would happen. You feel bad for the country.
I would feel bad for I feel bad for any country, the citizens of a country where their leader is literally being laughed at.
I think the point of view is that one person gets to represent you, what you think is the best representation of your people. This is the representation of the United States of America, the country which we thought was somewhat leading us to something. Is this is the guy that we have in power. Just saying.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's go into our stories. Now, I want to talk about this one because I was not aware that this was happening. So this is a story that opened my eyes. So Arthur and I are always the kind of people, and I know Ryan's in on this too. We always talk about medical science advances and how we're like really optimistic about the future. Yeah. So I wasn't aware that this was even happening. Apparently there's dozens of clinics across Canada that are offering stem cell therapies. I honestly thought you had to go to a hospital for this. Like I'm call me naive, uneducated. I don't know. I really thought you had to go to a hospital and see like a doctor in a hospital. They're providing now. Some of them are working, and especially for like blood cancers, these are helpful. Right. But they're giving them to some things that haven't been scientifically researched and have no proven health, and actually could possibly cause harm in the long run.
Yeah, they're throwing darts in the dark.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess if you're like got something and you're close to death.
Well, right? That's it, right? Like the draw from like my own mind. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Crohn's disease or asthma, you don't need to take stem cell,
Oh, I can get the reasoning though, because they come from the human body, so it's not like putting it in me should cause any adverse effects. You know what I mean? Like, I shouldn't fucking develop cancer for taking an experiment.
But we don't know that.
I mean, we don't. You're correct, but I don't personally see that being the case.
There's a story cited in this article. Now, this didn't happen in Canada. It happened in America. But a woman had stem cells injected into her eye, and she ended up blind.
Well, I mean, they put a needle in her eye, so...
Yeah. I don't know if it's from the needle or the stem cells. We don't know. There's a lawsuit, so... I mean, of course.
You stick something in your fucking eye, like, it's not supposed to go in there.
I think that stem cells can potentially really propel us forward.
Yeah, I'm so hopeful. I mean, like, they're doing a lot. They're curing cancers, and they're, some of these things, like, some people are getting, like, feeling after being paralyzed and stuff. Like, it's amazing.
Of course, this isn't really public knowledge. Because making this public knowledge, even now, I mean, I guarantee you, wherever these clinics are doing it, you're going to get fucking evangelicals protesting.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
that's true.
It's hard enough to get shit done with the scope of the informed public. But once you get the fucking completely ill-informed, out there fucking with their picket signs and their fucking horrible, slogans and shit, it's kind of harder to get shit done.
Yeah, it's true. And I mean, like I said, I'm not adverse to the research and stuff. I'm just worried that people are being conned.
I mean, maybe. I don't know.
In this article, they spoke to a man, and he went with his wife. His wife has ALS, right? Mm-hmm. And he kind of was skeptical the whole entire time. He didn't believe it was going to work, but she was so hopeful that he agreed, and they spent $10,000. And obviously there was no effect. She's still regressing. And he said, you know what, though? But I kind of thought he was a beautiful man and a beautiful husband. He said it doesn't matter. He would do it again to see that look of hope on her face.
Yeah, fucking
but isn't that... Okay, let me get a little bit off kilt here with that and say that's ultimately what we all kind of latch onto is the idea of hope. That's what research is about, that one day we will get to a better something. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to make this theological in any sense, but it is really just about hope in every sense of the word, that something will get fixed because you believed in it to be fixed enough. Maybe in the nick of time, maybe in, more time. I don't know. But that's the thing with stem cell is I think it can really, is it going to help every single case? I don't know. I'm not a scientist, I'm not a doctor.
Yeah.
But it can potentially save tons of lives. And I think sometimes we have to take ourselves out of the equation and stop thinking about what our beliefs are going to be, in religion and this and that. And we just have to put our faith in the idea that this can benefit others. Like, because it's not, look at Nancy Reagan, right? I didn't believe in it and all this stuff and blah, 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 blah. She was so hardcore until it affected her husband.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's how a lot of people are, right?
Yep. They don't give a shit until it directly affects their lives. And then they're sitting there going, well, why weren't we fucking looking into this? Well, you and your stupid picket signs. That's fucking why.
Yeah.
Like, that's exactly why.
Well, there's no regulation in Canada on stem cells, which is also something I learned. So I don't think it'll be long before the government gets involved in that, starts to make their money off of it, obviously.
Well, here's what it ultimately goes down to. I've said this before, I'll say it again. I don't care if I sound like a conspiracy theorist on this. The reason why I think a lot of studies get shut down or get bought off by bigger companies to eventually get shut down is because pharmaceutical companies will lose their money if we solve problems. Remember, lobbyists, pharmaceutical companies, and the oil tycoons, the one thing they don't want is for us to solve the problem. They don't care to solve the problem. If the problem was solved, they wouldn't have jobs.
Pumping, opiates out and, know, and making stronger ones instead of making them non-addictive, right?
I just seen that, like a family in the U.S., a family of billionaires that owns the patent for Oxycontin or some shit like that. I believe it was Oxycontin. Just got awarded a contract to be like one of the largest methadone producers in the U.S. So like you're fucking single-handedly causing the problem and making money off of the problem. You know what I mean? Like, the money runs fucking deep when you're talking.
That's when an atheist like me hopes there's a hell for people like that, you know?
Yeah. I think it's a scummy thing, but stem cells are cool. I mean, it pissed me off since, what was his face? Christopher Reeves going off about it and watching people shut him down. And it's exactly to that, hope. Like, who are you to take hope away?
From a person, I mean, imagine these families. I've had a couple of instances in my family where babies and children have passed away due to leukemia or things that could have really been easily, maybe we're looking at it as easily fixed now because of the technology.
At least a better chance of
a better chance
surviving.
The stem cells have existed since we've existed. You get what I'm saying?
We just know how to harvest them. Yeah, exactly.
And you just imagine the amount of lives we could have saved. And I know, I get it. The world is overpopulated and it's a dog eat dog. Like, Arthur, I've heard you say, not in a bad way. I've heard you say that. But at the end of the day, if we can save a life, we can save a life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If it means we're growing ears out of the back of a rat, I'm sorry, rat, you're going to have to grow an ear.
Well, yeah.
Well, it doesn't hurt it to grow an ear. It doesn't hurt it. I did see, you mentioned Christopher Reeves. I didn't read the whole article. I just kind of read the headline and some of the comments. But I should have saved the article. They're helping some people walk and stand again by doing some implants in their spines.
Yeah.
Which is kind of amazing.
Yeah. No, and that's the thing, right? It's always going to take that one person and their leap of faith going, well, fuck it. What do I got to lose, right? And that's what I kind of dig about this whole fucking like kind of unknown underground stem cell fucking shit. Like, because it's like, what do I got to lose? Like, what is there? I'm afflicted with something that has absolutely ruined my quality of life,
Yeah.
Fuck it. Like,
Yeah, I mean, it's no different than the people that go to homeopaths.
Yeah.
Right? Except for there's actually some science based.
Right. And even that, like, I know I chirp a lot about the evangelicals and people that go to homeopaths as being idiots. And I don't necessarily mean that as a blanket. Like, that faith, that hope, that fucking, like, hey, man, this sage is really in you're staying positive. Yeah, that absolutely has some effect.
They've proven that kind of,
It absolutely has an effect. But my whole beef is when you forego any kind of like modern medical knowledge to be like, well, no, I'll just pray and I'll be okay. Like, no, you won't.
Soursop is going to cure my cancer. I don't need to see a doctor.
AKA the people who are basically, look at me. This is really Ryan's attitude. AKA the people who want to potentially overturn Roe v. Wade because they're faith. Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly what I'm getting at. Like,
exactly.
I hold no beef with people saying like, like, oh, I'll pray, I'll, whatever. But I mean,
when someone says they're going to pray for me, I appreciate it.
But like, praying won't get rid of the cancer. You still got to take the fucking chemo. Unfortunately, because that's where we're at modern.
That's
and people have been praying for fucking years and years and years and years to do away with cancer.
Praying won't make money appear.
Everything. People haven't prayed over dying babies for the last millennia.
Unfortunately, it doesn't work. So we had to go a route of science and understanding to actually fix this fucking problem. So that's been my beef with the blocking of stem cell research this entire time. It's how can we constantly move forward. And again, most of the people that do bitch about these things, at one point in their lives, them or a loved one will benefit from it.
And a lot of times the stem cells are coming from your own body. It's not even like you're taking it from a fetal abortion tissue or anything like that. It's coming from your own body. It's not like you're taking it from something else.
And I think that's the worst part about it, is the optics of that for people that are pro-life. You know what I mean? Like, they can't get over the fact, like, oh my God, this thing would grow into this beautiful baby. Well, no, that's old. You know what I mean? Like, that was when we were first like figuring this shit out.
Yeah, when we first discovered those stem cells.
Right. And I mean, if you understood the scientific method at all, especially within medicine, then we find something and then we go, well, this isn't practical. Let's fucking figure it. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I just want to point out something that I've grown to, I've grown into. Most things in life are a choice. You not having children and you having children, that's a choice. It's a choice that you make. You know what I mean? You're conscious of that decision or that effort to do that. I'm sorry to make this a little political, but I am going to make it a little political. I apologize, guys, because you know how I am. Who are a bunch of, and this is the truth, white old men to make decisions for people who are not in their realm of reality. You know what I mean? Like, you're not even close.
And they don't know the science. We've seen them again and again whenever, like, they're interviewing Mark Zuckerberg. They're interviewing this person. They have no clue on how the science works. It's like me trying to go and interview, Steve Bezos. I have no idea. Or what's his name? Is that his name? I have no idea how he runs his business. I don't know how the science works. I'm going to interview him and see if he's on the up and up. No. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Let's stay in the medical and science kind of field here. We've got a victory for people who are pro-marijuana, medical marijuana. We've got a 5-year-old girl who wants to go to kindergarten, but she has severe seizures. She's got something called Dravet syndrome, and it causes severe epilepsy and seizures. And if she doesn't get her medicine, like as soon as these seizures start, she can get severe brain damage or die. She's already got some, brain, slowed brain growth and development because she's suffered these for so long. So, of course, the public school did not want her to bring cannabis-based drugs to school. They're like, we're a no drug and alcohol campus. What are we going to do? But she has a nurse that travels with her. So she would never be, wandering with her medicine by herself. A nurse would be there on the bus with her, in the school with her the entire time. Well, the administration and, I guess they had to do a big kind of thing, investigate into it. But yeah, she's going to be allowed to bring her medicine to school and to go to kindergarten.
Yeah, good. I mean, you can't deny somebody life-saving medicine. Like, sorry, like that's against people's human rights. You can't do that shit. Yeah. So fucking A.
And we're also like, let's remember, it's legal in that state now for just, any kind of consumption, not just medical consumption. So, yes, I understand you're an alcohol and drug-free campus, but, if I need asthma medicine or I need a EpiPen, do you block that from coming?
Well, like, penicillin's fucking, tons of people are deathly allergic to that.
Yeah.
You're going to tell people they can't bring antibiotics? Although, there has been blanket peanut butter bans, so who fucking knows?
Yeah. Well, like I said, in this case, she'll have a nurse with her, and the students will be safe. And it's a lot of times this medicine is not can't even get you high anyway.
No. Yeah, there's no fucking THC in it. It's all the CBD.
I don't know if she's on that one because I kind of looked to try to see if I could find that, and it never mentioned that. But I know, especially with the seizures, a lot of times there's no.
It's not about getting high. Like it's not like, but I mean, marijuana. You know what I mean?
Scary marijuana.
Reefer fucking madness bullshit.
Yeah, especially from a hippie state like California.
See, California, like they're kind of an enigma because they do pull shit like this every once in a while, and I'm like, but aren't you guys the ones spearheading all this shit? Like, I mean, I'm constantly seeing fucking celebrities stand in front of their goddamn McMansion somewhere in Beverly Hills telling me how like I'm shit and I need to better myself. So like.
I'm so done. McMansions, I love it.
But and it also reminds me of, the story, and I can't remember his name. I don't remember the family's name, but it was the young kid, I guess like maybe 13 or 14, and he was in one of the Carolinas, and he was having seizures, and his parents gave him marijuana.
Yeah.
I remember they took him away.
Yeah.
And I think they're still. I haven't heard an update, so I'm assuming they're still fighting to get him back.
Fuck, man.
You know.
Yeah. What can you do though? You know what I mean? Like, it's like the work's been done. The research is there. Like all the information sitting in fucking front of people.
People are just willfully ignorant, don't want to see it.
It's the same as fucking climate change deniers, all that shit. Like this, what more can the informed people do? Like the people that are doing these studies, the people that actually know what the fuck it is they're talking about, especially in regards to marijuana being a medical treatment. Like what more can they do?
Well, I remember how big it was when Sanjay Gupta did his whole series on medical marijuana, and he said, you know what, I've changed my mind. I was wrong.
Fucking right. Yeah. Because it's a fact. Like the shit's medicine. Like it's fucking medicine. Yeah. Whatever. Yeah.
Well, and now we'll go to our third kind of medical story. And this one really makes me upset because in my mind, there's no reason for this. So the CDC is reporting that the number of babies born with syphilis have more than doubled since 2013. More than doubled. So, I mean, it's not a huge amount, but it should be zero because you can cure syphilis with antibiotics. There's no reason why you should be pregnant and having syphilis. It went from 362 to 918. Like I said, it's especially in America, it's such a small portion of the population. But like I said, that should be zero.
Yeah.
Where was this study conducted?
In America, the greatest number of cases were in the South and the West.
Okay, because I was going to say that might have some correlation to that fucking bill California passed, with where you don't have to disclose fucking STDs to any sexual partner.
I mean, it very well could be.
Right? I was just kind of wondering.
I don't know if it's the same in America. I know when I was having my children, I was pregnant, they ran a blood test on me and they screened for all, and I did a
I was going to say.
A pap smear, and they screened for, I even got screened for HIV.
In the state of New York, they have to, or not have to, but they do because I thought it was just commonsensical for them to do that. So
yeah, I don't know what the policies. I mean, maybe some women are not even seeing a doctor because I do know in some cases women just show up and have their baby and never had any prenatal care.
Maybe this is the fucking downfall of Tinder. You know what I mean? Maybe this is
the free clinics that the government keeps trying to shut down in all these states, right? Not having access to, the free clinics.
Possibly.
Yeah, I mean, there's they have no reason. They don't know why.
No, of course
right? Not. But being born with syphilis obviously can cause a lot of problems. It can cause stillbirths. It can cause all kinds of physical and mental health problems. Yeah. It makes me sad because, I mean, I don't know. The free clinic, you can go to a free clinic and you can get a screening and you can get medicine for free.
Yeah. But fuck it. I just, either bang the dude or bang the chick with syphilis down the fucking street because that seems like a way better fucking use of my time.
Yeah. And here's the other thing, people. If you're sexually active, you should, wear a condom so you're not getting syphilis.
Fucking, syphilis, AIDS is still a fucking thing, people.
I know.
AIDS is still fucking out there. It didn't go away. That wasn't a 1980s only fucking thing. AIDS is still a thing. What the fuck is wrong with you?
I'm still scared. Like I always say, I don't want to break up with my husband because I don't want to have to be a Tinder person and risk HIV.
Yeah.
It's not even syphilis or chlamydia I'm worried about,
Seriously, it's crazy to me. It really is. Yeah. AIDS is still a thing, but people, the only time I ever hear anyone mention STDs, it's either fucking HPV or syphilis or gonorrhea, but...
Herpes now, too. It's
herpes is
widespread in Hollywood.
Well, that's the fucking big shock there. But yeah, no, it just always kind of blew my mind. AIDS is still a fucking thing, and you should fucking protect yourself just because of that reason.
Yeah.
Just because of that reason. That's a bad fucking disease.
Yeah, it is. And if you can't afford to get, tested for syphilis, how are you going to afford the HIV medicine, which is thousands of dollars a month?
I mean, as Magic Johnson's proved, you just got to inject money into your veins, and
that's the cure.
That's the fucking cure. Goddamn South Park.
Okay, so, come on, people. Let's be smarter and safer. Let's talk quickly about a story I know is going to make Arthur go off.
Yay.
He's going to go insane on this story. And I think Ryan was not going to be happy with this either. So there's some guy I've never heard of. He's on The Flash, the CW show The Flash. Okay. His name is, sorry if I mispronounce your name, buddy, Kynan Lonsdale. He gave an interview recently, and he is not down for genders. He doesn't want to be a he or a she.
Okay.
And it's not just because he doesn't think that there's such a thing as genders. He thinks that we're all trees, and we all came from trees, and that when you refer to Kenyan, you should say tree. So, like, does tree want a drink
today? Sorry. Did you say this guy believes that life came from trees?
Here's the quote. I'll read the quote. Okay, this might sound stupid. It does. But I don't care. I don't think this is offensive, but I don't want to go by he anymore. Yeah. I just want to go by tree. I want people to call me tree because we all come from trees. So it doesn't matter if you're a he or a she or they or them. At the end of the day, everyone's a tree. I want to call my friends tree and me tree and everyone tree. So I think, like, when people ask me what my preferred pronoun is, I'm just going to say tree. I'm not high, by the way. This is just me.
He's trolling.
This is my last line on this. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, this gotta be a troll.
I'm not a fucking tree. First of all, you know how I'm not a fucking tree? I'm 5'11", 5'10" and a half. I'm not a fucking tree. I'm not a fucking tree. I don't have fucking, I'm still waiting for springtime so all of my hair grows back, motherfucker. So no, I'm not a goddamn fucking tree. That I can tell you right now. I don't know. I don't have a response to this.
Yeah. No, it's just fucking stupid. This shit's run amok. Like, it's run a fucking amok. This is out of hand. Well,
that's the thing. Does every kid need a... I mean, like, this guy makes Jaden Smith look normal.
Yeah. I mean, just the fact of how factually wrong he is, because, I mean, life was alive in the oceans long before plants developed out of the fucking ocean. So no life came from trees, you fucking moron. And the second you say that, like, anything you have to say just loses all goddamn credibility. Like, all credibility. You cannot be a fucking tree. You can't.
Sister Patty says Ryan's a sapling.
You just can't
sucked off quite a few saplings, I guess. I'm not a fucking tree. I can tell you this right now. I'm not a goddamn fucking tree. Ain't nothing tree-ish about me.
Oh my god.
See, the bullshit thing, though.
I kind of agree. I think he's trolling too.
I think it's a troll.
I think he's trying to get famous.
Well, he's either just fucking nuts, or he's pointing out the absurdity of this whole nonsense of gendering and people picking their pronouns and what the fuck they are.
He's not trolling. Like, I saw a picture of him, and he's like, I don't even want to describe how he's dressed. Like, it's just he's got like a weird eye on his forehead and like gold chains all around his head, and like a real kind of hippy dippy Indian inspired sort of thing.
A friend of mine went schizophrenic some years back. And he said some shit like this. You know what I mean? So
and this guy's a young man. He's at the schizophrenia emergence age.
So it's like, there might be something seriously fucking wrong with this dude. Or my personal theory is he's just poking fun at the absurdity
of
this whole nonsense. Yeah. I mean, when I first heard, like, when we were passing that bill, saying that I have to call people whatever the fuck it is they want to be called, I started diving into it. And I found this thing called otherkin. Now, I don't know if I've bitched about this, but it's people that believe they're fucking Harry Potter or a fucking dragon or, you know what I mean? They literally fucking believe that they're that. So I'm hoping that this guy caught wind of this shit, went down that fucking batshit crazy Tumblr hole, and is just poking fun. Or, the more likely one is that he probably is schizophrenic.
That does seem more likely. Right? Let's hope that he's just a giant troll or something.
Right? Yeah, that'd be the best case scenario. But I mean, like I said, I had a very close friend that suffered from schizophrenia, and he started off saying some weird shit like that.
Yeah, we've got a family member who has schizophrenia, and I remember going to visit them in the hospital, and some of the things that they said were
it's odd, right?
It's just like. it's so bizarre, and your instinct is to laugh because you think they're making a joke,
right?
but they're 100% serious.
Yeah, it's
and you realize that they're serious, and you really don't know what to say.
No, not at all. I mean, it was the worst part about the whole fucking experience is not knowing how to respond. But I mean, again, we're gonna see more of this shit and more of this shit. Now, again, like, let your freak flag fly. You know, whatever you are, be whatever the fuck you are. I don't fucking care. Right? You all be a tree, buddy. Be a tree. I'm not gonna call you a tree because it's fucking physically impossible and you're a moron.
No, and I'm not gonna refer to your pronouns as tree either.
I'm sorry. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not going.
I'm down with they or them if they want, but I'm not down for tree.
I won't even call someone they because it fucking breaks the rules of the English language, which is the language I speak. So no, go fuck yourself. Pick something else. I don't care. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I literally don't fucking care. You're a singular entity. I will not call you a plural pronoun. Do I say she's? Do I say he's? You know what I mean? No, because it's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Like, it just aggravates me.
But you would say... Well, no, I don't know. Sometimes you would say
there are certain times when describing people in the third person in the past tense that, yes, you might call a singular person they.
Yeah, like, what's Arthur doing today? Oh, today they're going to the store or something.
Right, but it's like, that's still incorrect. Like, that's not correct. And I speak English, so I'm sorry. You know,
I barely speak English.
Like,
so.
I like the language of English, so I'm just not doing it. But I mean, yeah, this is just the absurdity of this stuff. Like, it really is, and I have a feeling we'll see more and more and more of this. Maybe not you, definitely not me, because I don't have any kids. But people who have like toddlers right now, who are kind of, I don't want to say
me,
angry,
I watch my kids for that sort of thing because we got mental illness on my husband's side of the family, and I'm watching like a hawk. Man.
I don't even mean like that. What I'm saying is like, this type of language, this type of thinking is going to become so much more prevalent in the future now, right? Because again, we are letting people just be who they want to be. I mean, obviously there's backlash, and I feel sorry for those people. Yeah. The ones that, you know, that are truly, you know, trans or what have you. But this, like, I mean, because I could see somebody literally fucking claiming to be a tree, and it just bothers me.
There's a contestant on Big Brother UK. And I love him. He's wonderful. So he's from Poland, and he's like a plus size, as he likes to call himself. He calls himself gender fluid. Yeah. So he's attracted to men, but he loves to wear women's clothes. He doesn't say he's a woman, you know, but he'll do his hair. He'll put on some lipstick. He wears some fabulous outfits. And I just love him because he's so comfortable as he is, but he doesn't make people feel bad for asking questions about him. Do you know what I mean? Because a lot of times people are afraid because they don't want to offend, or people get their backs up when you ask the question, right?
I understand, and I'm glad that there's a little bit more transparency. You know what I mean? Like, I'm glad that we're at a point where if you're trans, that you can be open about it. And for the most part, the public's not going to harass you. You don't have to be in the trans closet anymore a lot of times. But at that same point, you are part of a very new, and to most of us, very weird subculture of people that we don't fucking understand.
We don't understand. And it's not that we're like, ew, you're trans.
You know what I mean?
How does it work, honestly?
Right. I seen that same thing when, you know, pretty much in my teens, when being gay was just fucking, it is what it is, you know. It was just accepted and everyone was cool about it. But, you know, for most of us straight white men, or just straight men in general, like, we were like, well, like, fuck, man, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's parts of the language, and there's just parts of things that we don't necessarily understand. So bear with us while we ask our fucking completely invasive questions, you know what I mean?
But, like, and I mean, I understand sometimes it could be weird because people don't come up to you as a heterosexual and say, well, how do you and Liz do it?
No,
you know, people would never say that.
Heterosexual sex has been well fucking documented. You know what I mean?
Go online and look.
There's no reason for an explanation. There's no reason for any kind of anything. So to that, like, you know, I'm sorry. Like, I am sorry to anybody in the trans community who is visible. I mean, you're gonna have to put up with some of us idiots being like, oh well, you know, fuck, man. Did they like grow a dick for you? Like, you know what I mean?
Like, on the back of a rat,
right? Like I'm not trying to be rude. I'm not trying to be ignorant, but I mean, like, I'm a dude and I got a dick, so like,
I want to know.
You know, like, fuck, man. Yeah, I'm just curious as to what everything is. You know, I try to not. Well, I mean, can't say try not. Like, I'm not a fucking bigot. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not. I don't fucking hate.
You're open and accepting. I agree.
Right. So I just want to know, and not for the fact of knowing the language so I don't be offensive, just so I kind of have a window into what this is, so I have a true deeper understanding of who you are as a human being. Right now, a few trans people that I have met through my life, I mean, I just treat them as what they present themselves to me as.
Yes.
So you know what I mean. If you're a man, or
you're a dude, you're bro.
You know what I mean. That's what it is. Like, that's what you present yourself to me. If you present yourself to me as a woman, that's what you are, right? But
yeah.
I will not call you fucking they. Like, I won't do it. Sorry about your luck.
That's your choice in life to make, right?
Right. Like, and that's kind of one of the things that bothers me about this whole. I don't want to say movement, because I don't think it's really a movement when it's about human rights. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that kind of sullies it.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of, you have to do this without giving me the right to being like, well, I don't have to do shit. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
like,
when you tell someone they have to, I mean, most of us get our back up and are like,
exactly.
What?
No, the second, I mean, ask my father what was the biggest fucking struggle with me. He was telling me to do something. I go, fuck you. No. Yeah. Like, don't tell me what the fuck to do, right? So the language to me, I think, is the biggest barrier.
Yeah.
In this conversation, I truly do. I mean, of course, you will always have the people that for some reason have to imagine it, and then they have their like little optic kind of disgust, and those aren't people we should really give a fuck about anyway. Mm. But I mean, again, I won't call you they. I will not call you a tree. I don't care. You can whine, you can cry, you can fucking dox me on the internet. You can call me a Nazi. I don't give a shit. I'm not calling you they.
Shim? Are you down for shim?
The fuck is shim?
She and him? Shim?
Sure. Whatever.
Okay.
Like that's I mean, it's a made up word, so I really can't fucking say I can't, you know what I mean? I can't use my quote unquote fucking bigot fucking ideals as to why I'm not gonna fucking say it, but it's just it's weird to me being on the outside, you know, because again, I don't fucking understand this. Like, I don't get it. I don't.
Yeah, it's a little hard to put yourself in somebody else's shoes
like,
when it's like so far removed.
To be empathetic in this scenario, right? Like, it's just kind of like, well, I don't fucking understand this, but this guy, no, you're not a tree, bud. You're just not. You're just not a fucking tree.
I have to agree with you. You're not a tree.
You're not a tree. You're not a tree. Who those people out there that think they're dragons? You're not a fucking dragon. They don't exist. That's physically like it's just impossible.
Dress up on weekends like the furries and have fun, but on Monday you're not a dragon.
You know, and I kind of got that feeling when furries first came around. I was like, what the fuck is this shit? And I'm
I still kind of say that.
Right? Oh yeah, they're fucking weird. They're fascinating, you know, because they do truly believe that they are these animals, but it's there's still a separation between that and them trying to force me in public to call him fuking Sir Wigglybutt.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
Like, because
had his head and scratched behind his ears and shit.
Because I'm not gonna do that, you fucking weirdo.
No.
Like, I don't care that you want to dress up like a fox and go do fucking weird fox things. Like, cool, whatever. Like, fucking more power to you. But no.
Okay, so let's talk about your favorite province.
Alberta?
Quebec.
Oh.
Quebec. Alberta.
Alberta, I love them Albertans.
So here's a story about, and this is crazy to me. Now, I've heard loud snores in my life. Yeah. My dad was quite a loud snorer. One of my sisters, who may or may not listen to this show, I won't identify her, Sister Patty, can be a very loud snorer. Scott, when he drinks, can be a very loud snorer.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys have all heard him when we're doing this podcast and he falls asleep behind me and snores. But this is crazy. So I'm going to guess they were living in a house or some sort of, attached place. Yeah. So you have a woman who's renting a house and the tenants who live downstairs. Her snoring was so excessive that they could not sleep. And they, at 3:00 in the morning, the landlord called her to say that the neighbors are complaining about her snoring. And, she's just like, well, nothing I can do about it. So they showed up a month later, the landlords brought her some boxes of things. I'm going to guess like breathe right strips, things to help you keep from snoring. Yeah. That didn't work. The next day, the tenant, the snorer, found a card in her, this is a little too much, card in her doorway with a doctor's appointment slip and a note attached that said, take care of yourself. Yeah. So a couple weeks later, they followed up and asked her if she's going to see a medical expert to help her. She said no. that there was nothing wrong with her and she didn't need to be harassed by the landlords over the issue. Finally, they had no choice but to take her to the tribunal. Basically, she's going to have to leave or seek medical help because, like she works day shifts or night shifts. So then she's snoring all through the day when they're trying to have company or, live their life. On the weekend, she snores all night long when they're trying to sleep. It's affecting their quality of life too. And it's not normal amounts of noise. This is this must be severe snoring to be coming through floors and walls.
Or that's fucking, built like a fucking piece of shit house.
True.
Right?
True. But the tribunal did say that she was going to have to seek some help to do something because, it's unfair for the neighbors to suffer the consequences
fuck you,
of her inaction.
Bring a decibel meter. And if I'm not breaking the noise barrier, seriously, and this is exactly what I'd say. If I'm not if I'm still under compliance with the noise ordinance, then there's not a goddamn thing you can do.
What's the noise ordinance at like 3 a.m, though?
Well, that's the thing. I don't know about Quebec, but I know here in Oshawa, it's 24 hours. I'm allowed the exact same decibel level the entire fucking day. Okay. So, because again, I'm a dick. My neighbors don't particularly like me too much because I'm a fucking dick. And they've threatened shit like that on me. And I've just, luckily I'm informed with the bylaws here. And I go, I can be as loud as I fucking want at any fucking time, as long as I stay under a certain decibel.
Yeah.
So, if I was the snorer, that's the first thing I would do. I
kind of would too. I would be, I wouldn't care about the breathe right strips, but I would be really offended if you made a doctor's appointment for me.
That's a step too far. The breathe right strips, I'd be kind of stoked on. Like, hey, fuck, man, thanks. Ooh. That's pretty fucking, that's dopey. Like, thanks for looking out, but. Yeah, no, you're not fucking making a doctor's appointment for me. Or you my fucking mother. That's
horrible.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm a fucking
your
child.
Landlord's making an abortion appointment for you because he found out you're pregnant? Like, no.
It's scheduled in as late term. Like, really, really late term because this tenant's a
7-year-old.
Like, bitch, you're fucking 42 years removed from that abortion. So let me jot down a little fucking appointment for you here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh fuck! But yeah, no, that's weird.
That's crazy. I wish there was a recording of that person snoring.
There's got to be something they could do about that. It's not an infringement on someone's freedom. I don't think, but like that's a step above. Like that crosses a line. I don't know what line, but I feel as though
said like we have to breathe, and we're all entitled to breathe.
Yeah.
Right. You snore because you're breathing funny while you're sleeping. But he said that if she has a medical problem, she should seek medical help, and
No, I don't agree with that. I think that's kind of messed up.
The tribunal didn't agree with you.
Oh, it makes sense because it's fucking Quebec. Like,
I don't know. I would like to see that. Yeah, in another province or state and see what happened.
Well, yeah,
but I do like the idea of the decibel reading too.
Yeah, no, straight up. That would be the first thing I'd ask for. The first fucking thing. Like, you're bringing a decibel meter during the hours of which I'm apparently fucking, like, just unruly, and if I do not break city noise ordinance laws, you can fucking lick my
especially
decibels.
During the day, like how she works night shifts and she's sleeping through the day.
Right.
Like, there's a lot of outside noise and stuff.
I'm sorry, like, you
can't be worse than a jackhammer.
Well, too, like, you and your fucking ability to entertain guests, go fuck yourself. No one cares about that. That's like, shut the fuck up. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
What if they're having their
I can't have my
Bible readings,
my fucking wine and cheese party, and we can fucking talk about how shitty the fucking Habs are. No one cares. Shut up. Like, bitch is trying to sleep.
Maybe they're planning on, did you hear this craziness? How they're because of, the French language only signs they have in Quebec, the law. That they're going to put pictograms on signs so that foreigners and non-French people can read the signs without crashing into, the no entry place or something.
I've been going through Quebec my entire fucking life. I don't speak a lick of French. But you know what? The road signs are easy as fuck to read.
Signs are fine.
The signs are signs. A stop sign's still a fucking red octagon, you stupid fuck. Just because it says arrête and not stop doesn't like
yeah, yield sign's still a yield sign.
Right. Your speed sign's the exact same. If you can drive on any
the
highway
only thing
in
that
Canada,
would be hard would be like, I guess if you really don't know anything, would be like east and west and north and south.
But how? It's still
They're kind
East
of the
is
same
est,
still.
est, and west is oust, OUEST. Like it's pretty much like, you know what I mean? If you're a fucking Canadian and you can't discern east and west, or fucking arrête mean and stop, then you're an idiot. Why the fuck are you on the roads? Like, stop fucking
Get
playing
out of
fast,
the car.
right? Like, why are you playing fast and loose with my fucking
I don't know
life?
how are they gonna do east or west in a pictogram anyway? Like,
yeah. The fucking compass bearing, I don't know.
I guess.
I mean, like, and it's not like people. I mean, maybe people are better off in New Brunswick where they have bilingual signs, right? Like, it's a fully bilingual province, so it's the only one in Canada where everything is English and French. I mean, people are still dumb fucks there and stop in the middle of the road when they don't know where the fuck they're at.
I found the worst thing about Quebec is they have weird street lights. That's what I had a problem with. That's the weirdest thing.
I'll warn people about that if they're driving through Quebec for the first time, because it does make people feel a little weird because they're horizontal, not vertical, right?
And not just that, the lights are like amber, you might have a light going for your lane, but not the other two lanes. And even when you're crossing the street, because I was walking in Quebec City, and I was like, I just waited until other people crossed. I had no idea when I was supposed to cross.
I mean, I think it's easy enough. Pictograms, I don't think are really going to do much.
I didn't find it that hard. I didn't find it.
I mean, at the same point, I see fucking dumb fucking people on the road all the time. Like, people that shouldn't even be allowed to walk down the fucking sidewalk unattended, let alone drive a fucking vehicle. So, I mean,
I often go to the Scarborough Town Center, and there is a TTC station underneath Scarborough Town Center, and they have two entrances in there for the buses, and they have big signs that say no entry, no entry. You know, they've got the stop signs, they've got the yellow and orange signs, they've got no entry, yet you constantly see dumb people driving in there and going, oh my god, what do I do now?
Yeah, well, not drive under the fucking railroad tracks, you moron. Oh, it's insane to me. But I mean, hey, whatever, it makes sense. I mean, Quebec's always under fucking road construction, so why not add another fucking 15 years worth of fucking bullshit. Fuck sakes. Like, you know, and I like the Quebec highway system. I truly do. Like, I think they hit the nail on the fucking head. Like, it's fairly smooth, you know what I mean?
Montreal was a little scary the first time.
Driving through Montreal
it's a little weird the way their on ramps and off ramps are. It's not what I'm used to here in Ontario.
Unless you're going to Montreal, don't ever drive in Montreal. No, like, seriously,
we didn't know about the Highway 30 at the time. So we were going to Quebec. We were staying north of the lake, so we had to take that route. But the next time was fine.
But yeah, no, I mean, for anyone listening, if you're ever going to drive through Quebec, to do yourself a favor, do not go through Montreal unless the plan is to go to Montreal. It is a fucking, it's just, if you're not used to fucking driving there, you're going to cause a car accident.
It's weird.
You know, especially if you're a panicky driver, like, you're going to unfortunately cause a fucking car accident.
Yeah. I was just like, you know what? It's okay if we miss an on-ramp. It's okay. We'll just, you know, stay on it and we'll turn around. Exactly. Never, like, slam on your brakes to get onto a next one or something.
No, fuck
We'll be fine.
Well, that, and, you know,
just keep going east. We'll end up there eventually. So let's talk about our last story. And this one makes me really angry. Actually, and you know me, I don't get angry that often. We're talking about a teacher in Florida. She worked at a K-8 school. She got fired because the school's policy is to never give up less than 50% for even students who don't hand in homework. So she had kids who didn't hand in, like, you know, a big project, and she gave them zeros, and the school said nope, and they fired her.
Yeah, of course. They have those fucking, you know, those zero policies on that shit, because without kids moving on, they don't get those juicy government grants, right? So they'll sell it's insane. It's a terrible fucking practice, but it's so true. I watched it happen myself. I watched a guy get fucking pushed onto high school who never went to school. And I mean, this guy was fucking, like, it'd be insulting to bricks to say he was dumb as bricks. You know what I mean? Like, this guy was a fucking, like, grade A moron, and they pushed him through, and then even high school came around, and they're just pushing him through because they want that fucking grant money. So what have you done? Right? What have you created? Well, and I mean, it's no surprise that this person's a career fucking criminal now. Like, I mean, he was going down that path regardless, but no, it's disgusting. I mean, I say this constantly. Your kids need to be held accountable. I don't like stop giving a fuck about their feelings. They will cry for a minute and they'll get the fuck over it. All these people that are claiming childhood trauma and blah 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 blah, they're pretty much fucking lying to you. Not all these things were fucking traumatic. You know what I mean?
I'm torn on certain things. Like, I absolutely agree. Your grades are your grades. If you don't do your work, you absolutely should not get a pass. Right. But I'm kind of in the school that I don't think you should fail kids below a certain age. Like, I knew people who got failed in grade 1, and they really do have. Well, they do have like, I want to say emotional trauma, but they have like a lack of self-confidence in their intelligence now. You know what I mean? Like, one of those people who really still think that they're dumb, even though they've accomplished so much. And you're like, you're not dumb. But I failed grade 1.
I failed grade 1, and I definitely don't feel dumb. You know?
Yeah, but not everybody's the same.
I don't know. It's just, I think a lot of that's nurture. I think if you nurture the fact that it's so heartbreaking rather than the fact that you fucked up, and these are the consequences of fucking up. You know what I mean?
I think part of the problem with some of these kids, I do know like a few of the kids that were failed in grade 1, their parents would be like, "Oh, you're dumb. You're never going to result in anything." So
that's piss poor parenting. Now, if your parents are fucking sitting there calling you down, I can understand you being like, "Oh, it's traumatic," but no, there's nothing wrong. Like, now, me failing grade 1, it was a circumstance of me breaking my femur bone. Right, so I was out of school. Yeah. But that's not the reason why I failed. The reason why I failed is because I refused to work with the fucking tutor. All I wanted to do was sit around and fucking joke around and make fucking kites and shit like that. So the onus was completely on me. Like, I could have went fucking forward, but I was a dum-dum. I decided that fucking around was more important than fucking doing my schoolwork. So they held me back. Yeah. I'm not traumatized from my father explicitly telling me, this is your fault. You should have buckled down. You should have done the work. You wouldn't be in this spot. You probably wouldn't be fucking crying that your friends are moving on and you're not. But at that same point in time, I was taught how to deal with loss. I was taught how to accept defeat and admit when I was fucking wrong, and that my actions directly result to the fucking consequences, good or bad, that come out of them, right? Where I think a lot of these fucking kids don't, because of policies like this. This no kid left behind shit is not good. It's detrimental to everybody in the long run. And I'm like, I can kind of understand some of the arguments, but they'll never sway me against my personal beliefs in that.
What I kind of like how they do the schooling to some degree. Like, you know, like when Logan was in school, he was always considered behind, right? For whatever reason. And he did struggle with a lot in a lot of the areas. And they never failed him. He always moved on and great, but he would have an IEP and he would have adapted lessons. So this is what they would do, is like these kids would go to their special math class for if they needed it, or if they needed more time for homework or more time on tests, that's adapted for them. You know, that sort of thing I think is okay. And I mean, look, Logan went into high school and had zero issues other than being lazy.
But that's my thing though. So like, you can't fault this teacher for giving kids zeros that didn't hand any work in. They didn't, especially not
even some, none.
No, nothing. They handed in nothing. They had something to do, and they said, "Fuck it." Whatever else it was that we were doing in their life was more important than their responsibility. Now, let's face it. The kid's only responsibility at this time in their life is fucking school. There's nothing else. The only thing you are responsible for is your schooling, and it's a direct representation of the kid. And I don't believe that any kid that, you know, they shouldn't scrape by. They should be taught that life doesn't work this way.
Like literally not even a page with your name on it.
Right.
You know, like nothing.
Life does not work that way. I'm sorry. Life will never work that way.
You know how many zeros I got growing up because I never did my homework and I cared?
Right. Like it's fucking batshit crazy to me. But again, though, we've fucking wrapped everything in foam for these kids nowadays. Like, everything is padded.
And it's like you think you're setting them up for success, but you really are setting them up for failure.
Right? You're setting somebody up to fucking act like a crazy, insane person when they're getting fired from their barista job because they've showed up late for the 19th time in a row.
I was going to say when you go to your boss and you didn't do the report, but I'm thinking if you are getting zeros because 50%, you're not going to work in an office.
Like, and chances are you probably wouldn't even be fucking qualified to stir my coffee.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you still have to show up for that job, and you got to fucking do it, right? Yeah. I mean, I just don't get it. I don't understand the reasoning behind it. I don't. Like, where the fuck did we stop with punishing fucking kids for being dummies? They're not fragile. These are fucking future adults. We're trying to
and
grow
people are
adults.
so concerned about, we need to teach cursive. No, we need to teach responsibility.
Self-accountability, self-awareness, like personal accountability. Like, for fuck's sakes, it's just...
That's one of my pet peeves. I hate when my kids do not own their shit.
Own their shit, right?
Drives me crazy. Own it. You didn't do it. The teacher's not picking on you. You didn't do it. Plain and simple.
Stop crying wolf. Stop claiming that it's not detrimental. If this child is not fucking doing what they're supposed to be doing as a child, like, it's either we correct the issue, we find the issue, if it is some developmental fucking disorder or what have you, right? Like, I mean, learning disabilities exist. We can't sugarcoat that. Like, it happens. But I mean, if that's not the case, and we can't just keep blanket diagnosing kids with like ADD and shit like that, like that's sometimes the kid's just a fucking dickhead.
Yeah.
If it's not something that we can diagnose, then you have to just accept the fact that your kid's a piece of shit and you failed as a parent. You know what I mean? Yeah. You're not doing what you need to do to grow that person into a successful member of the society, someone that is going to have the respect and be revered and looked at as, just like every other asshole on the street that did what they had to fucking do.
Exactly.
It's so wrong to me. And again, I don't know when we cross this line.
Like, and we're praising people for things like, I see this a lot, and I see people. I mean, look, I was proud my kid graduated grade 8. We're all proud. I'm proud my kid graduated high school. We're all proud. Yeah. But I mean, like, people get praised for things like, oh yeah, he's a good dad. He's taking care of his kids. Well, you're supposed to take care of your kids. I'm not praising you because you didn't have 15 kids out of wedlock. Okay. I'm not praising you for that. I'll praise you because you're a good dad and you take your kids and take them to the park or do whatever the frick you're supposed to do. But I'm not going to be like, oh, just because you came from the ghetto, you're not a good person because you're not in jail.
Right. Well, it's just like, I love when people say like, oh, I've done fine in life. I didn't go to prison. Oh yeah? Congratulations, you did the bare minimum. You know what I mean? Like, you did you fucking succeeded. You know what I mean? Like, fuck off.
Yeah.
Like, I say that as a joke. Like, oh, Art, how you been? You're like, hey man, I stayed out of prison, doing the bare minimum at least. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like that's kind of like a fucking like true rallying point for some people. Oh, well, at least I didn't go to jail. You're not supposed to. Like, that's not something to be proud of. And where did you learn that just not going to jail was enough? You know what I mean? Like, that's not enough for respect or adoration or for me to give a fuck about anything that you think or have to say. Like, I'm sorry, not fucking sorry. I'm tired of this.
I know. And it's like everybody gets their participation medal, even for like stuff that we're all supposed to do.
Right. And again, like, I mean, I guess you can blame it on millennials because millennials did raise some of these kids, but it's the Gen Xers too.
Yeah.
Where did
my
Gen
generation
Xers,
did a lot. That's when you stopped beating your kids. And
exactly.
All that shit,
like,
man.
What the fuck happened? Like, why did you guys instill these
That's when participation medals started. I remember we got our freaking. We used to do participation. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And I never got a gold, silver, or bronze. Trust me, never. I was not in any kind. Even when I was skinny, I was not in any kind of physical shape. Okay. But I always got that little white participation one, whatever they gave you at the end.
Well, like I brought up my athletics on the last show, and like my medals and ribbons and plaques and all that, they're not golds. Like, I'm proud of my silvers. I'm proud of my bronzes. Like, what I mean? Because I put in the work.
If I could have got a bronze.
I went out and I did the fucking work and I got the praise that you're supposed to get for going out and doing the work, not for fucking just, well, he showed up.
Yeah.
Oh, well, he didn't actually show up. This might fucking make him cry about something later on in the future. So let's just give him
Trust me, I've never cried that I couldn't do a chin up.
Right? It just
never in my life.
It bothers me, and it not even just bothers me. It fucking upsets me that people are okay with failure for their children.
Yeah, I agree.
You shouldn't accept failure. You know what I mean? Like, but you should be okay with failing because at least failing says that you fucking tried.
Like I said, I knew my son was never going to be the star baseball player. I knew that. But it doesn't mean that, when he's, partway through, he wanted to quit. And I said, nope, you joined the team. You've made a commitment. Now you have to stick with it for the rest of the season. And that's it, Well, it's boring to sit on the sideline, but that's the way it is.
Yeah. It just bothers me because your kid doesn't even have the right to call itself a failure. You know what I mean? Like, it's because to be a failure means you actually had to get out your comfort zone, give give it your all. You fucking tried. You tried something. Showing up isn't fucking trying.
No, exactly.
You know, and if these fucking parents, and where did this happen? Florida?
Yes, Florida.
So if parents in Florida are A-okay, actually, yeah, that makes so much fucking sense.
Yeah.
That they're just A-okay with that, you know. They showed up. They did the bare minimum. What more do we need, right? Florida's fucking
and it's
A-okay.
not like we're talking about a kid that's like, you know, born with a mental, you know, capacity of a peanut or something. Yeah. We're talking about normal kids that have just the ability to do this work.
A normal fucking kid. But no, you know, lack of parental supervision, probably a Fortnite addiction, you know, and the fact of we coddle fucking kids to the point of this.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. You know, it's fucking sad, and I'm not really looking forward to the future. Like, I'm not.
Yeah.
You know, at least
you kind of worry about what is going to be the future of some of these kids.
It's going to be like, I guarantee you, HR, like human resources, is going to be the biggest growing industry in like 5-6 years, because we're going to need so many telephone operators to be like, okay, why are you crying today? Okay, how did the world hurt your feelings today? Yeah. Right? Because these fucking people were growing.
Like, every time there's like, okay, like, so say, you know, a kid at Marley's school passed away this summer, in the middle of summer.
Yeah.
In a drowning.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, it's sad.
Yeah.
But of course, the school opened for everybody to come, and you had all these kids going. Marley's like, that person didn't even know them. Yeah. She barely knew him. She knew who he was. But you have all these kids that have to go and seek counseling because, you know, well, I don't want to say for attention, but
it's not for attention. But we have not prepared our younger generations, and I'm talking to parents out here, and I'll fucking blanket statement: you guys are not teaching your kids how to deal with loss. You are not setting them up to grieve, mourn, and fucking move on. No, now they all need therapy. They need counseling. Loss is one of the hardest things for humans to go through. It's evolutionary in us. It fucks with us hard, you know. And I'll give that to people. But
people living longer and longer, you know, your grandpa doesn't die when you're 9 or 10. You know what I mean? They live a lot longer.
So you have to start preparing them for loss. And a great way of doing that is being like, well, you lost your opportunity to move on to the next grade with your friends because you're a fucking moron, Timothy. And I'm smashing
Timothy,
your fucking Xbox.
You mean Hayden?
Hayden. Well, you know, whatever. I guess I'm fucking old school now because,
I know. What's this 1980 name? Timothy? What?
Yeah, Timothy. Jesus Christ. Like, let's ridicule this kid. It's bothersome. And we should not accept this stuff anymore. Like, we shouldn't. Like, even me, like, as a non-parent, like, I shouldn't accept this shit. Like, I shouldn't accept people thinking like this. We're fucking ourselves over for the future by allowing this level of think. Yeah. And I mean, you know, if you make a better argument to change my mind, fucking try. But I don't see it. I don't send
us an email. Right. Go to our Facebook page. I'll read your argument on Monday's show. I have no problem.
Like, if anybody can make a fucking argument to me that can defend allowing a child that won't even do the bare minimum move on in school, I mean, please send it to me. But I will still probably think you're an idiot.
That's the difference. If the kid's trying and they can't do it, I can, like I said, I can understand. Like, I can understand partial grade or something.
Yeah. I can actually respect.
Or they're working at their, you know what I mean? Like, okay, if you can't work at grade 2 level, right? But they let you go and you can work at grade level in all the other categories. Okay, you get to go to grade 2, but you're working at grade 1 level math. Whatever.
Yeah.
At least trying. But if you're just an asshole who doesn't do your homework, F you.
Like, I would love to hear the argument to the other side as to why this is a good idea. Because I don't see it. I truly don't.
And I agree with you.
Fucking setting ourselves up for failure.
Okay, well, that'll be the end of our happy, optimistic show.
Yeah.
We'll be back on Monday at 6:30. I'm sure we'll have an update on this Kavanaugh thing and this Rod Rosenstein thing. So thanks for listening and have a great weekend.
Yeah, take care.